Hi, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to share with you and talk about how do you reframe your self-talk? How do you go from being overly critical to being your own best friend and champion and cheerleader? If you read my book, you probably remember me talking about where I came from at the time that I started to work on myself was extremely desperate and very hopeless feeling. And so I knew that I had to, if I wanted to live and I wanted to show up in the best possible way for my son, Bill, I need to really pay attention. I had a therapist suggest to me that I go buy a tape recorder, and I literally sat there with the tape recorder and I said, back then it was affirmations, right? This was kind of evolving all of this self-development work. Affirmations, I am a good person, I am a good mom, I am a good provider, all of those things. And it probably lasted about 30 minutes or so, which is excruciatingly hard. That's not easy. Here's the hardest part. I had to listen to it. I had to listen to my voice tell me that I wasn't junk. That was very, very painful. And it's like the exercise that I gave you a couple of weeks ago. I challenge you, go in your bathroom, close the door, have it be quiet, have a pen and paper, and just look yourself in the eyes without any hesitation for at least 5 minutes. It is going to be really difficult, but I promise you, what you see is where you start. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, listening to my tape of myself didn't change everything overnight. I evolved over many, many years. This does not happen quickly. You know, maybe it will for you. For me, it absolutely didn't. I also started to make a list of things that I was really good at, and this might be helpful to you. So kind of, take a pen and pad of paper and write down things that you know you're really good at, and then write down things that you really want to strive to be. So maybe you're in a profession and you want to strive to be better, get to the next level. Imagine when I started my real estate career in 2020 as a brand new agent, and like I said, I knew nothing about real estate other than I backed my limo into real estate driveways. That's all I knew. If I had said to myself, oh wow, my God, you're gonna screw this up, you don't know enough, I absolutely would have had a difficult time, and I probably would have failed. However, even though I had fear, and I had a lot of it, what I said to myself was, you have every intention of showing up in your best possible way for this customer. You have a lot of knowledge. You passed a really difficult exam on the first try, all right? So you know things. You need to have your customer's best interests at heart. And if you don't know the answer, that's okay. None of us were born knowing all the answers. Honesty, integrity, those are qualities that I knew I had. When I started this business and I was going through a divorce and I had zero income coming in, I knew I needed to play full out. And it wasn't a sense of desperation. It was a sense of, you know what, you got this. And if you want to excel, I know factually, if I put my mind to anything, I will do amazing things. I don't fail. I just don't. That's part of my self-talk. That's part of my work. It is certainly not conceit. And that's really important to understand. When you're talking to yourself, in the very beginning for me, it felt like I was conceited. Who am I to tell myself I'm an amazing mom? Who am I to tell myself? That's just bullshit, because honestly, I thought I was a piece of crap. You know what I mean? I was not coming from a good place. I kind of felt very fake doing that. And it actually, for me at that time, I was faking it because I didn't feel it yet. But I knew the power of repetition. I knew the power of digging deep. And when I tell you I worked hard, that's not a joke. It's really not a joke. I am not a warm and fuzzy person at all. However, I get results, and I'm really good at that. And that's how I want to show up. I can be nurturing. I can care about people. I greatly care about people. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, you know what, I'm really frustrated where I am right now, and I want to get myself out of this funk and to the next level, you can expect homework. You really can. It's not going to be, I'm not going to sit in your shit with you. We're not going to sit in your little sandbox of, oh, woe is me, because that's part of the self-talk. And as long as you play victim And we'll in the future, we'll get to levels of energy, because when you understand the levels of energy and how you show up, it's a game changer. If I had walked around as a victim, wouldn't have worked. And I can tell you that we are where we are because we choose to be. That hurts, right? Doesn't it? All the crap I went through, I may not have chosen to have those experiences and all that trauma. However, how I reacted was 1000% my choice. If I had chosen to continue drinking and doing drugs and just completely living a life of destitution and hopelessness, that was my choice. It's really tough to hear that, but it's really important to know that we are where we are because we choose to be. When I was in a bad relationship and I stayed in it, it was my choice. And we have to really pay attention to that on a deep level. When we're sitting in our victimhood, it is a choice. You know what? Maybe you don't have a job right now. Maybe you don't have a place to live. Maybe you don't have a good relationship. What did you do 5 years ago? What did you do a year ago? How did that happen? So there's always an answer for that, really. You know, listing the things that you really want to strive to be is very, very important. Perhaps right now, you don't really feel like you're being a good mom, or you don't really feel like you're doing well in your career, or you don't like where you live. That might be something that you strive to do better in. And there are so many tools, and I can talk about them all day long. I'm going to point out one to you. This is something I've talked about before, and I know it's backwards for you. This is a book called Soundtracks by John Acuff. Absolutely incredible read. I highly recommend you get this book. And you also, this is a reread at least once a quarter. That's no joke. So my books, what I do is I put the month and the date, the month and the year, sorry. And then when I go back to read it, I see how long ago I read it, and I see how many times I read it. There's a lot of power in that, because repetition and the way that we read today is going to be really indicative of how we're feeling today. So 3 months from now, we may be feeling different. We are going to read that differently. Super important. Bottom line, if you want to change how you talk to yourself, you really need to start doing the work. I'm going to give you a really good example. This is when I started my real estate business. Like I said, I only knew how to back a limo into a driveway. That was my extension of knowledge of real estate. So my very first customer, they came to my open house when I was selling my first property I sold was mine, because I was going through a divorce. Yeah, that was really awesome. And this beautiful couple comes to my open house. And they walking around and they're like, wow, we really love your house, but you know, we're thinking we might need something a little bit different. Great. They said, would you come look at our house, because we need to sell it first. Now inside, I'm like, holy mother of God. Yeah, you're my first customer. I've never done that before other than my house, but I would love the opportunity. What did I do? Did I panic and go, oh my God, I'm brand new? Oh no. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Will I do that? If they ask me, I'll be honest. I did not do that, because I knew that I was going to do a banging job for them, because the things that I did not know, I have the most amazing brokerage. There's always somebody there to help me through this. So they left graciously. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for the opportunity. I would love to do that. I'll see you next week. That gave me a week to really hunker down and bust my ass, learn as much as I could. Had I walked in their door that day and acted all nervous and sweaty, what would have happened? Exactly. Not only would I not have got the listing, I wouldn't have helped them buy their house after I sold it, and they probably wouldn't have become some really special friends in my life. What I did on the whole car ride over there, you're amazing. You've got this. You have a lot of knowledge. You're going to take really good care of them. They are going to be your priority. If you don't know something, you're going to find out. But you have their best interests at heart. And I could not show up as a better realtor than that. I walked in and I obviously aced it, because I got the listing. Fast forward 6 months from then, and I'm having dinner with this lovely couple. I had now sold their house. I had helped them buy another one, and they became really beautiful friends, right? We're sitting there at dinner, and the husband says, "Wow, Ann, you really love what you do. How long have you been doing it for?" And I'm like, "Well, you were my first customer." They about had a heart attack. They had no idea. Because I had done the work, and because I continue to do the work. Don't think that ever stops. It doesn't. And I'm telling you, I love doing the work. I am passionate. I've got all kinds of workbooks. I'm developing a workbook. I read constantly. I'll read up to about 2 books a week. It used to be more, but right now I've got a pretty full schedule. You know what? If you really want to get to a beautiful place, do the work. I can't express it more than that. I hope you found that helpful. Please reach out to me. Any questions? It's going to be a really amazing ride. I promise you, when you look back on where you are right now, a year from now, it's going to blow you away if you do the work. I'm really excited to invite you to my private community. And this is going to be a community where we share. So there's a nominal fee for it, and it is going to be really intense. We're going to really get down and dirty in some topics, and also really want to hear. There's so much power in listening to you, because you bring something beautiful to the table that others don't. And it's awesome to be able to share those things. I'm going to be there for you. We're going to have a really awesome ride. Put on your seatbelt. You guys have a wonderful day.